This is my early 2000s or maybe late 90s, not real sure, Kona Cindercone that I kind of Frankenbiked together because I was in between my full suspension trail bikes and all that. And I built this frame just to build like a commuter, fun, goofy bike, and then I had it laying around. And I turned it into this, and in the process, I think I kind of stumbled on what I believe could be a really sweet, all-around budget bike, at least where I live in Texas. It's pretty flat. I'm actually about to tear this thing apart and do something new with it because I have my trail bikes going back together and all that. So I thought before I did that, I would make a little video explaining how I built this thing up and kind of why I think it's pretty cool. And I might be the only person that thinks that. So the reason this thing ended up being pretty rad to me is I only have maybe $1,000 in it. I built it all up myself from a frame, and I can pretty much do anything on it. Where I live in Texas, we don't have, at least this part of Texas, a ton of, downhill gnarly trails. And so we ride a lot of XC flat stuff that you just kind of have to make fun. And then this area, you run into a lot of stuff with sort of flat jump lines that are hard to carry speed through on a big squishy full suspension. And this thing is pretty sick for that. It feels pretty much like a big dirt jumper. And this 24-inch tire, you can run at super low PSI and get some squish and make it kind of soft. But yeah, so since I built this thing up, I took it to an enduro, raced that, totally survives. It's a Texan enduro, so maybe not the most gnarly stuff. But I have a little dual slalom thing at my house, sort of line that I ride all the time. I've been riding this thing for months on it, and it held up like a champ. Trail rides, whatever. To me, this thing is a perfect budget, kind of all-around bike. If I didn't have a lot of money to spend and I was going to build up one bike to do everything I like to do, it would probably be something like this. So yeah, I'm going to go through all the parts and stuff on here in case anyone else is weird like me and thinks something like this would be cool. Show you kind of what I put on here. I bought this Kona frame on eBay just as a frame. I don't remember how much it was, but it was super cheap. I think like $150 or something. And then I just pieced it together with some really budget parts. Some cool stuff on here too. But if you're looking at it, the first thing you notice is probably the 24-inch rear wheel with the 24/30 tire. This is like a Duro, I don't know, unicycle downhill tire. I don't know. But, all the cool downhill dudes do this. But I'm not that cool, so I copied their idea and did it on this weird, goofy hardtail. But it actually makes it super fun and kind of versatile. So starting from the back, working my way forward, have that 24-inch WTB rear wheel with the Duro 24/30 tire, which I'm pretty sure that rear wheel is a super narrow, well, I am positive it's a super narrow wheel that I just rigged up tubeless and then threw that tire on there. Totally not what anyone would suggest you do, but I've ridden it a ton and it hasn't even burped or blown off or anything. So, maybe I just got lucky, but it's honestly working pretty good. But from there, I just have Shimano Q's cranks and actually I think a Deore 12-speed on there. It's just kind of what I had laying around. I put a Trans-X external dropper on here. If you go around this way, you see it better. Most of the external droppers are fairly ugly because the cable goes in at the seat. So when it's up, it looks all crazy. But this Trans-X one is pretty nice because the cable just stays down here. And really, for what it is, doesn't look too bad. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this janky post that clearly is not part of the original frame. At one point, I had this thing set up like a clunker. So, for whatever reason, I thought that would be cool. Probably not, but that's why it's there. The forks are just some budget RockShox Judy forks with a 26 front wheel. And I have put a beating on those forks, and I'm not a light guy. I probably weigh 200 pounds and jump this thing and smash it. And it's crazy if you look at how small the stanchions are, but they've held up like a champ. and haven't folded in half or anything. So I give that a A+. And then the brakes on this thing are some totally off-brand brakes I think I had laying around from Amazon, and they came, I just found this box and it had the brakes, the rotors, spacers, everything I needed in one kit. Totally unbranded, and they do not work great, but for what I paid for them, I think they work pretty good. And then this, probably my favorite part on the bike, is a sick animal front load BMX stem. Pretty rad. And the bars are Tusk, like budget motocross bars. So to make this thing even more kooky. And you know, all that stuff honestly feels pretty good. And then the Chromax seat on there, just because that's what I like. So anyways, if anyone's interested, that's the parts I put on there. And I'll put some riding footage in here so you can see kind of what I've been doing on this thing and the torture I've put it through.